How we doing, guys? And welcome back to another episode of the Big D podcast. We are streaming now on Spunky Spectrum Sports on YouTube. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe for some great content. I know your host Dylan has some really exciting guests coming up this week. Can't give you any spoilers on who that's going to be, but it's going to be someone you're going to want to tune into. So make sure you check that out on YouTube. And we are here for our Super Bowl Super Podcast. I am Alex hosting today, and with me is your usual host, Dylan. How you doing, Dylan?
I am feeling super, Alex, because you know what we're talking about today? We're talking about the Super Bowl, the greatest single football game in North America. I know some people would say, what about the World Cup final or the Olympics? But the Super Bowl is the numero uno sporting event on the calendar for a reason. And this year it will be in Tampa Bay, although Buck fans may say Tampa Bay. On one side, Patrick Mahomes and the defending world champion Kansas City Chiefs will meet Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucs in what will be a tasty Super Bowl matchup.
Absolutely. We got the man who's been there many, many times before, and the man who was there last year. So it's definitely a good quarterback matchup. I mean, it's a good one. We got battle of red teams. We got a home team in the Super Bowl for the first time. I mean, it's gonna be a good one. I'm excited, man. I can't wait to watch it. I think I'm hoping it's gonna be a little bit better of a game than last year. I think Tampa is a better suited matchup for Kansas City than San Francisco was last year. So I'm really excited to watch it. I mean, Tom Brady likes to show up in Super Bowls, and Patrick Mahomes likes to too, as we saw last year. So, I mean, the nice thing is obviously that the two offenses of these teams are really hyped, but they got some two really solid defenses too. So I think we're gonna have a really good game this year. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, unlike last year where San Francisco's pass rush really harassed Mahomes, I wonder what exactly will happen for this game. I mean, when you look at these teams, who looks good? Which team features the best overall offense, not just quarterback, skill position wise, but maybe O line wise?
I mean, as far as offensive line, Kansas City is banged up. They got
Yeah.
a lot of. I mean, everyone's banged up at this point of the year, but it looks like are they officially missing those starters?
At least the tackles and then the centers on the COVID list.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, and because the thing about the difference with the offensive lines for me is that Patrick Mahomes he kind of likes to extend plays. He'll move around. He'll be waiting for guys to get open or leading guys open, waiting for them to get out of the routes. Obviously, they got the speed guys in Tyreek Hill, so they got to extend plays a little bit more. Whereas Tom Brady, he's more of a quick release kind of guy. He doesn't need to be in the pocket because he's not mobile. So he kind of has to know where he's going and get rid of the ball. So I put the edge on Tampa's offensive line just because I don't think they'll have to block for as long with Tom Brady behind center as opposed to a banged up Kansas City offensive line who might need to work a little bit extra harder if Mahomes is rolling out or if he's extending plays and trying to make them happen. You agree with me there? Are you against?
Yeah, I would definitely favor Tampa's offensive line. I mean, as we saw in the NFC title game, Tampa really harassed Aaron Rodgers and made Green Bay pay for not having David Bakhtiari.
Mhm.
Now, even though Kansas City's defensive line is not exactly short of talent with Frank Clark and, of course, Chris Jones, Tampa's offensive line has protected Brady very well, particularly in the playoffs. And in this game, with Tom Brady's quick release, I'm not sure he'll face a lot of pressure while Pat Mahomes could be run for his life. I mean, last year, San Francisco really harassed him the first two and a half, three quarters, and Tampa featuring Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, and a Vita Vea up the middle could figure out a way of harassing, maybe containing Mahomes.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair assessment. The thing though is Patrick Mahomes, even if he might have to work with his legs a little bit more, he's pretty good at doing that. So it'll be very interesting in seeing like the Tampa linebackers and like if Patrick Mahomes does get out of the pocket and does break out to the side, if they can come over and contain or the cornerbacks if they're playing press depending on the situation, if Patrick Mahomes can break a couple big runs, that can really set up their offense because I mean, if you don't have to be passing the ball and he's able to get that mobility and working around the edge and taking off for a couple big plays, those Tampa Bay defensive backs or might not play as deep or might not commit to the receivers as strongly. You never know. So it'd be very interesting to see how much they run with Patrick and how much he decides to break out and try and get some yards on his feet. But I mean, when you've got the weapons he has, I mean, sometimes all you got to do is throw it up there, and he's been doing that a lot lately, and it's been working out for him.
Speaking of weapons, have you ever seen a Super Bowl with more weapons on either side? I mean, Kansas City
No,
got Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. You've got the Cheetah and the best tight end in football, and Tampa's not exactly short of weapons with Edmonds, Godwin, Scotty Miller, Antonio Brown, Cameron Brate.
Gronk in certain situations.
Oh yeah, don't forget the tailbacks: Dale Williams, Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. What else do you need?
I mean, we've first of all, you mentioned them. We've got two of the greatest tight ends of this century playing in the Super Bowl. Gronk's obviously not the same player he was back in his New England days, but he's still a matchup disaster. He's still a huge target, and he's got chemistry with Brady. So, when they Super Bowl Sunday, you might see a little bit more of Gronk. They've got Super Bowl history together. He might want. I mean, obviously Cameron Brate's been playing pretty well for him last year. He had that touchdown 2 weeks ago. But I feel like when it comes down to the Super Bowl, Tom Brady's been there before, and he might want to hit. He might go with his familiar targets. And on the other side of the ball, I mean, Travis Kelce, it's got to be the worst matchup of recent memory because I mean, he's a receiver playing tight end. He's a tight end playing receiver. He's whatever you want him to be, and he is a menace. I mean, it's just unbelievable seeing the combination that Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce have. It's like, and the crazy thing is, it seems like he's always open, which just blows my mind because I see him running like an inside seam route or a skinny post or something like that, and it's like there's no one 10 yards away from him half the time, which blows my mind. But I mean, like you said, the weapons. I mean, on Tampa's side, they're just a receiver core alone. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Scotty Miller. I mean, and then Kansas City, Tyreek Hill is. I mean, they call him Cheetah for a reason. He can just run I mean, all he's got to do is just take off running the 9 route, and Patrick Mahomes throws it up, and it's a touchdown. I mean, we've seen it happen so many times. And then, I mean, I think you're right. I don't remember a more talented Super Bowl on the offensive side of the ball, on both sides of the ball in recent memory, for sure.
By the way, Buck fans, and maybe more so the Buck DBs, don't want to remember what Cheetah did in the Week 12 game between these teams. He only called 13 passes for 269 yards and 3 touchdowns. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hammering the over on Tyreek Hill passing yards. Or receiving yards. It just seems like, I mean, he can hit his over in one play, it seems like. And it's happened before, I'm sure. I mean, it's just he's a unique talent. I mean, Miami has Jakeem Grant, who's got the wheels, but unfortunately, we saw this season he doesn't quite have the hands Tyreek Hill has. So it's just he's an entertaining player to watch. These are two entertaining offenses to watch. I mean, do you think this game being in Tampa, how big of a advantage do you think that is, or do you think it's not as big as some people might think?
I would say because of the crowd size around 25,000, it will be advantage for the Bucks having having a bigger home crowd, but I actually think depending on what the weather is, and I've looked at weather, and there could be some wind and rain in Tampa. What else is new? Of
Right.
course, for what 2020 and now 2021 would bring a rainy Super Bowl. I mean, who wants to remember the Colts Bears rainy disaster? But that's a story for another day.
Mm.
I think that the fact that Chiefs could play in warm weather will only help that offense because, I mean, yeah, Mahomes, Cheetah, Kelsey can all play well in cold warm weather, doesn't matter. But as your Dolphins found out in what week 14, I think it was, Mahomes likes playing in warm weather.
Yeah. Yeah, he certainly went off that day. I mean, I think yes, them being in at home with probably more fans, you'd have to assume. I mean, see, the Super Bowl is weird for me with fans because a lot of people just buy tickets to the Super Bowl because it's the Super Bowl, not because like they're a fan of either team. I'm sure if you did the numbers, it would be more Bucks and Chiefs fans than fans of any other team. But I think the biggest advantage for Tampa is just the travel. I mean, they don't have to worry about like getting on a plane. They don't have to worry about their schedule as far as when they arrive and when they're going to the hotel and when they're doing this and when they're doing that. I mean, it's like another regular season home game to them, except they have 2 weeks to prepare for it. I mean, so I think in that sense, it's got to be a little bit more calming for Tampa because like you don't it's I mean, when you're hopping on a plane heading to the Super Bowl, I mean that's got to be one of the most nerve-wracking thing. And maybe not the plane is nerve-wracking, but I mean just the traveling, and you got Super Bowl week and media week. It just adds a little bit more tenseness. But the fact that I mean they're already home and they're in their home stadium, it might not necessarily be on game day the advantage, but just the week leading up to game day where they're in their locker rooms, they're on their practice facility, they're comfortable. And I think that might be more of an advantage for Tampa that might help them out in the long run. But
I would say usually that you usually having a home Super Bowl week would be an advantage, but because of COVID and in fact Kansas City's not traveling until Saturday night, will make
mhm.
it more like a normal
Yeah,
game instead of a true Super Bowl game. Because instead of doing media night last night and having 18,000 interviews, all the interviews are via Zoom and on the phone.
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a very good counterpoint. I didn't really think about it like that. COVID it's changing the way everything is running. So, but I did mention that 2 weeks to prepare. I mean, an Andy Reid football team with 2 weeks to prepare is a dangerous sight to see. You think that streak holds up? I mean, you want to get into it? Who do you got?
Uh, Going into the playoffs, I thought Buffalo could have given Kansas City a run for its money. I know Kansas City's offensive line scares me, and I know what the Bucks defense does. The Buck D line reminds me so much of the Giants against Eli. But I think we'll see in the passing of the torch. I think we'll see in a new dynasty, and it's from the Kansas City Chiefs. I think Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey make one more play on offense, and the Chiefs win this game 34 to 30.
34-30 Kansas City. I like that. I'm I'm pretty much on the same page as you, to be honest. I think high scoring, I think competitive, I think close. I think, you know, very well could be the last team to have the football wins this football game.
I would
I'm gonna. What's up?
I wouldn't mind it either. I wouldn't mind it either way. I mean, Brady and Mahomes down three would be very interesting.
I mean, who wouldn't want to see that? Tom Brady with the game on the line running down the field, or Patrick Mahomes with the game on the line moving down the field. I mean, you said 34-30. I think I mean, honestly, before you said your score, the honest score I had in my head was 33-30. And I think I'm going to stick with that. I think 33-30, maybe a field goal at the death, or maybe down 4 and a touchdown at the death. I mean, I think I would be very surprised if we see an onside kick needed to be recovered. I think that this is going to be a shootout. It's going to be a score and a score, a score and a score. I mean, whatever you can do, I can do better kind of thing. I mean, it's this. It's just this looks like one of the most exciting Super Bowls that we've seen in recent memory. I mean, you know, obviously Brian Flores put on a masterclass against the Rams of New England, but I mean, boring Super Bowl. Even last year, it wasn't the most exciting of football games. I mean, I think I'm really hopeful that we get a really fun, exciting game this year. It might be a couple turnovers too. I mean, these defenses are. I mean, everyone's talking about these offenses, but these defenses are ballers. I mean, we got some really good defensive players, and they've been obviously. I mean, Brady got picked off 3 times last week by Green Bay. You know, if Kansas City can watch some of the film on that, Kansas City's good at intercepting deep passes. I saw a stat where I can't remember the exact numbers on it, but they have a high. They're high in the league in intercepting on deep passes, and you know, on the flip side, Patrick Mahomes, you know, he's had a couple more turnovers. I mean, just in the Miami game alone, he threw more interceptions in that game than he had all season. So, you know, Patrick Mahomes isn't perfect either. Obviously, he was playing against the best cornerback in the league in that game, but I will move on from that.
Okay, wait a minute. You're saying Xavier Howard's the best cornerback in the league only because he got 10 picks. Come on, man.
Who else got double-digit interceptions this year?
Yeah, because everybody threw it toward him because they were scared of Byron Jones. Come on, man.
Well, I don't know. I think if I was quarterback, I'd be a little bit more afraid of Xavier Howard than Byron Jones this year. But, you know,
Okay.
it doesn't matter. You know, Miami's not in the Super Bowl, not yet anyway.
But speaking of Super Bowl, who do you think will be Super Bowl MVP?
I mean, it's so I'm gonna go Mahomes. I think he's gonna really show out this week. I think he's ready. I think he's on. He wants to beat Brady. He wants to. He's ready for Brady. He's ready to take over the NFL. He kind of already has. I mean, he's pretty much the face of the NFL already. But you know, there's a lot of like we said, there's so many weapons that all of these teams have. You really can't go wrong with any pick. But you know, it seems like Super Bowl MVPs favor the quarterback more often than not. I guess it's a safe answer, but I mean, I see Pat. I don't. Darrell Williams might have a touchdown run, but I see Patrick Mahomes scoring the majority of their points through the air. I think he'll probably have a 4 or 5 touchdown day, and I think it'll be Patty. But who you got, Dylan?
There could only be one Super Bowl. How many yards did Cheetah get in the first game?
Yeah. I mean, what, 190? Something like that?
He caught 13 passes for what, 260 some odd yards and 3
Yeah,
touchdowns.
I was off.
I think he could do it again. I think Cheetah is a mismatch nightmare. Even when the Bills tried to cover him, they let Cheetah and Kelsey go bananas.
Yeah,
I mean, the Super Bowl. The Bucs secondary is banged up. Both the safeties are iffy if they play. I'm not sure the Bucs can necessarily stop Cheetah's speed wise. I mean, yeah, Tampa did an adequate job containing Devontae Adams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure you can contain Cheetah and or Travis Kelce. I think this is Cheetah's game.
All right. I want to ask you one thing really quick. How about for each team? Give me each team's X factor to winning this game. What does Kansas City have to make sure they do to win this game, and what does Tampa have to do to make sure they win this game?
Well, offensively, Kansas City needs to protect Mahomes, give him a clean pocket because without the normal offensive line, Kansas City cannot let Mahomes take and beat. You can't let him get full. You can't let Tampa's pass rush get hungry like what Aaron Rodgers felt. And then defensively, simple. Can Kansas City make Tom Brady uncomfortable? Limit Tampa's ability to throw the deep ball, and I think it'll be. And you may not be thinking so, But I don't care if he's in. But I don't care if he's on his last legs. Kansas City has not defended Rob Gronkowski one iota.
Yeah.
I think if Tampa wins this game, Rob Gronkowski is going to make a couple plays, and then for Tampa offensively, can the Bucs run the ball? Because one way you can stop Mahomes and the Chief offense is
Keeping him off the field.
and not necessarily running the ball. Tom Brady, as you know, is great at throwing those little dump offs, whether the
Right.
Fournette, Ronald Jones, the tight ends, or wide receiver. Tom Brady can just dink and dunk down the
Yep.
field.
Yep.
And then defensively, Tampa's got to win the turnover battle
Yeah. Absolutely.
and win the pressure game. You might not get home every play, but can you make Holmes uncomfortable? Maybe he throws that one, maybe he throws one or two, and then those linebackers, Levante David and Devin White, have got to play the game of their lives.
Yeah.
You've got the best middle linebacker duo in football. Can you limit Travis Kelce to 6 for 60? If you go 6 for 60, you win. If
Hmm.
you go 7 for 160, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you completely there. And you mentioned the turnovers. There's a lot of games. There's been a lot of games recently where, I mean, Brady threw three interceptions last week. They still went on to win. I really think in a game like this with these offenses and I really think a game like this, the winner of the turnover battle wins this game. I mean, it's not, most of the time you think that's the case, but, I've seen a couple games recently where it hasn't been the case. I mean, I really think if there's 3 turnovers versus 2, it's going to be the difference in the game because these offenses know how to move the ball. These offenses know how to score. And if you take the ball away from them, and especially if you put them in good field position, that could be the change of the game right there. And so, I mean, it's going to be an exciting one. Do you do any football squares, Super Bowl squares?
I'm doing a few. I mean, I'm more on the daily fantasy side, but I'm
Right.
doing a few squares. I mean, it's tough to do actual squares because how do you have a virtual Super Bowl square party?
Yeah. One of my friends from my old job, she's got a lot of friends who are big football fans, so she put one together. I got a couple numbers. I got Kansas City 0, Tampa Bay 2.
Oh
So maybe a
gosh,
Tampa
22,
Bay 32
20,
30.
22 to 20.
Yeah, and it's by quarter too. First quarter wins $200, second quarter wins $200, third quarter wins $200, and fourth quarter wins 1,000. Or I mean wins 400. I'm sorry. So I've got Kansas City 0, Tampa Bay 2. I've got not a great one. Kansas City 6, Tampa Bay 6. So I mean a tie at the end of any quarter. Obviously, I won't be able to get the final score with that one. But I mean
Well, you could
16 halftime.
you could have a 6-6 halftime score. I mean, how many points has Tom Brady scored in the first quarter of his Super Bowls?
Yeah. So I mean, it's just obviously I'm not going to win the final score one with that one, but I'm not mad at it for one of the quarter ones. And my last one is Kansas City 3, Tampa Bay 8, 33-28. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with the 33-28 score. I should have changed it. 33-30, 33-28. Let's make it that. Um, those are my squares for this week, and I can't wait for Sunday. I can't wait for this game to kick off.
Yeah, I can't wait for this game either. Just can we teleport to Sunday? Can we teleport to Sunday at 6:30?
Yeah, I mean, it's the week that we've all been waiting for as far as the NFL fans, and the only sad thing is it means it's the last game of the season. But we've got a pretty exciting off season, especially for you, especially for your Jaguars team. So I think it's going to be a great game and a great finish to a very unique and interesting COVID season. But hopefully, by the time next season starts, this COVID will be a thing
Long
of the
gone.
past,
And
and we'll be able to get back to regular football next year.
and then hopefully we can actually see some games with fans in all 30 NFL stadiums.
Absolutely, we got to get back to normal. I'm hoping. I'm really hoping because this is not something that anyone's enjoying. That's for sure.
Maybe, yeah. So thank you for joining for both episodes, and Can't wait to see this Super Bowl, and I'm sure you are just as excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for having me again, Dylan. Guys, remember Spunky Sports,
Lucky
Spunky
Spectrum
Spectrum,
Sports, like,
Spunky
share,
Spectrum Sports.
comment, do what, share with all your friends, subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, Dylan. Thanks for having me again.